Hi, welcome to the weekend. I do history videos on Saturday. A couple of Saturdays ago, like 3 or 4 I think, we talked about how the computer was first invented by a guy named Alan Turing, T-U-R-I-N-G, who used it to break the German code. The Germans had this Enigma machine that had a separate code setting every day, and the British had to do the calculations fast enough to figure out what it was. And Turing invented a computer, that's how the word got it, to be able to do these calculations. So today I'd like to talk a little bit about the early years of how that affected the war. It led to what was called the double-cross system in World War II. What the British did was they were intercepting the German code. They would hear everything the Germans were saying. And when the Germans were sending a spy to Britain, they would radio their contacts on the ground and say, the spy is going to be parachuted at this time, in this field, in this place. Please be there to meet him and take him in and get him oriented. And then we'll release him and he can be a spy in Britain for us. Well, the British were listening. And in fact, there were no German agents in Britain. They'd rounded them all up. And when the spy came in, the British police were standing right there, or the troops, and arrested him the minute the parachute hit the ground. And they'd take him to prison, and they'd lock him away till the end of the war, and then a British intelligence officer would be appointed to be him. And he would then say, yeah, I'm here, I'm all welcomed by the comrades, and I'm ready to go around and serve the fatherland and all of that. And the Germans would say, well, get us this information, get us that information. And the British would usually helpfully comply because it was more important to them to have the Germans believe the spies were there than not to give them the information. So for the entire course of World War II, there was not a single German spy in Britain. And Hitler thought there were hundreds of them, and they were all being run by British intelligence. Isn't that incredible? Now, once this led to a terribly, terribly difficult and tragic moment for Winston Churchill, one of the most tragic in his entire life. The Germans decided to bomb the city of Coventry, and they telegraphed their spies. They'll black out the city at night, because all the British cities were blacked out during the Blitz. We want you to light the way to it, and then light up enough lights in Coventry so we can find it and we can bomb it. So Churchill got this, and what's he supposed to do? He had 3 courses of action open to him. One is he could say, here it is, and let them bomb Coventry and protect that the code was secret. The other is he could evacuate Coventry, but he'd never keep it secret. They would find out, and they'd know they was messing with the code. Or he could track them to the wrong place and have them drop the bombs in an empty field, but then they wouldn't read in the newspaper about the horrific raid on Coventry, and they'd get the point also that the code was compromised. And Churchill said, I don't care what the price is, I have got to pay it, because I can't let the fact that we've compromised this code get out. It's the key to D-Day and to the landings in France. I can't let that happen. So he instructed the British intelligence to guide the German aircraft in and show them where Coventry was. And 10,000 people died in that air raid. And he had absolutely no choice. He had to do it. Absolutely tragic. So in the next week or two, we'll talk about how the double-cross system made the D-Day landings possible. And then after that, we'll talk about how the Enigma machine breakthrough backfired on the British and the Americans in the Battle of the Bulge. So come on back on Saturdays and we'll do that. By the way, I have this wonderful book about Dubs who needed to learn the history of the United States because children's books don't teach it. All they teach is, politically correct stuff. So he goes to Washington and tours the monuments. And at one point he goes to the memorial for the Second World War. And he says, at the memorial for the Second World War, Dubs was thrilled by what he saw. The monuments to the men who kept us free. But there was still no ball that he could see. See, the ball's here, and Dubs doesn't see it because he's here. So it'd be a great book for your children. Order it at dickmorris.com. Thanks a lot. See you on Monday.